Delta 499, you can send me with your report and I'll go to Franklin 29. Delta 499, coming towards the ball.
Good afternoon, everybody. How we feeling out here? Look at all these colorful jackets. They're all smiling, having a good time, forgetting that they have to run 26 miles on one day.
498 over the tank tonight.
You guys look good. Show of hands, who's running on Monday? I got you in the back.
455 days on Franklin 29.
Anyone here from overseas?
Bravo. George, was that a 40 detail? Thanks, have a good night. Charlie 421, there was an hour front.
I have a good night.
Thumbs up, which means it's time to get started. How we doing, everybody? You guys ready to do the panel? My name is T.K. Skandarian. We are leading some panels here all weekend. We're very excited for this one. We're going to give you a quick introduction of who we have happening for the meeting. Let's put our hands together from Boulder, Colorado, making his Boston debut. I think Mr. Jake Riley. All the way from Utah, two-time Olympian, he's sitting 10th here, he's sitting 8th here, Mr. Jared Ward. And returning to Boston from Flagstaff, where she's been living and training, she is a bronze medalist from August. Put your hands together for Molly Simon. And of course, the two guys who made Boston Marathon champion, your friend of mine, Ted Lincoln. That's a 2008? Yeah, time flies. Time flies when you're Boston Marathon champ, right, Des? Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What are you drinking? Is that like a Coke? What's
So
that?
there's street credits in the can, but it's just water.
Okay. Well, welcome to Boston. How are you doing?
Thank you. It's a thrill to be here as always. I'm doing really well. I feel happy to be here. I'm appreciating the daffodils versus the fall foliage. This feels like Patriots Day, Boston Marathon. Things are back on track.
It feels good. Normally, if you would get here in the fall, maybe that coffee would be a pumpkin spice latte, but instead, it's just a large iced coffee. Kate, how are you feeling?
So excited to be back. It's like, I was getting like chills running around the Charles River yesterday. It's good to be home.
It's good to have you here. Jake, welcome to Boston, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's my second time in Boston. Last time it was pouring down rain, so it's a lot better.
So it's a lot better, and it's better because you're in it. What's your impression so far of the city?
Of the city, I've seen this and I've seen the river, and if it's anything like the river, it's great.
Very good. Jared, you've been here a couple times. You know a thing or two about this town. How does it feel to be back?
It's so cool. There's no other city in the world like Boston, and the Charles River has become my river path, I feel like. So it feels like a little tiny piece of home over here on the East Coast.
And we're so glad to have all of you here for the 126th running of the Boston Marathon, but it is also the 50th anniversary of the first official women's field. So, there's so many incredible women who paved the way and did the work behind the scenes so that we can have all these incredible moments now. Who were some of the most influential women in your career?
Oh gosh, I wish I knew the pioneers better. I think that everyone should kind of think about that and digging into those 8 women who started it all off and have been here for 50 years. But for me, it's Joni, it's Dina, it's the American women that paved the way and showed us how good we could be. First Olympic gold for Joni, the Boston win. I think she had a world record at one point. I mean, she did it all. So the bar has always been high, and now it's just, can we live up to that hope that she set for us?
Yeah. And Molly, what about you?
I mean, one of my heroes is sitting 2 seats away from me. So I remember back in 2018, I was sitting out at mile 19 in the pouring rain, and Desi comes just blowing up this hill, and you could see she was just had this momentum that you could not stop, and I was just absolutely bawling. It was incredible. So it's moments like those, honestly, for me that like made me want to be a marathoner.
Des, in that 2018 race, it started out not so great for you. In fact, at one point, you thought about dropping out. As the event went on, as the race went on, the race started to suck a little bit less, as you've said. But at what point were you like, well, something kind of cool is cooking here?
I'm pretty sure it was halfway through Boylston, TK. The suck was a high level of suck for most of it, but I think about halfway through there was camaraderie with Shalane, there was camaraderie with Molly Huddle. The American group was so strong that year, it just felt like our year, and I was very determined to help out and chip into that effort to get an American win, and in the process I just started competing and feeling all of a sudden like maybe it was my day. I got my rhythm, and it all turned into a positive mindset, and then passing people was really great. So I did that all the way into the city.
Yeah, you picked up energy as you went, as you rolled on, and the crowd built up energy with you. Jared, you ran here in 17. You ran here in 19. Did you run here in 18 in that awful year?
No.
Why are you so smart? What do you know that we don't?
I was sitting at home watching that on the computer thinking, I am so glad that I didn't run this year. But it was fun to watch the success that Des had and the grit. But no, I did not freeze that year. Maybe that's why I'm back. I wonder what the attrition rate of 2018 was for participants of the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, or
Des came back.
Right, or any marathon moving forward. It was a dreadful day. I mean, it was 37 degrees and the wind was howling. And Jake, you were watching, I'm sure, from afar. Did you pick up any inspiration from the woman sitting to your left and what she did that day?
Well, obviously, Desi's big thing is keep showing up, and that was certainly happening that day, and that's a mantra during all my injuries I keep in mind. But I was out here for a course tour about a month and a half ago, and my second half was in almost identical conditions, and I was able to stop and get drinks, and I was able to put on raincoats and stuff, and my hands were still numb, I wasn't able to open the car door at the end. And so just the thought of having to compete in buns in that, I guess you're wearing buns, but yeah, having to be out in that crap was just, awful. So I thought we were going to have that this time because it looked like it was going to be rain, but we're not. I'm so thankful.
Molly, as it relates to this course, have you been out on it recently? Have you been training at all on this course recently to come see it?
No, so I was supposed to come out about a month ago and run the course. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out in my build-up, but I literally lived probably about a mile from here over in Fenway, and so every day I would just go right out to the marathon course, go straight down and back, or start in Wellesley and come back up. So I have seen so much of this course. I've run so many miles on it. It'll be very different racing on it, but I'm pretty excited. I know this thing like the back of my hand.
So let's take it back a little bit, Molly. You broke the Foot Locker curse back in college. If you guys don't know, Foot Locker is the pinnacle of high school cross country. Molly won it because she's incredible, but there was this curse in the NCAA where the Foot Locker champions never went on to win an NCAA title, and obviously Molly proved that wrong, and I don't know if there's been a Foot Locker winner of the Boston Marathon. But what is the secret to having success so young? And clearly, it hasn't been a straight line. You've had some setbacks, but how do you handle the progression in your career and any of the setbacks you've had, because you continue to rise?
Yeah, I think it's really been a combination of like one, having a really good group of people around me. I'm so grateful for my family and my friends and my coach and everyone who's helped me go from each level to the next and build me up. And I think another thing is just kind of like adjusting your mindset and changing your approach to the sport. I think, yeah, even just going from a collegiate runner to the pros or a high school runner to collegiate, you have to kind of change things around and reinvent yourself in a way and think about like, okay, why do I want to be in this sport? What does this mean to me? And yeah, I think I'm constantly still figuring that out.
Yeah, and Jake, for you, you're an 8-time All-American. You've excelled in a variety of distances. But have you had to change things up and keep, as your career has progressed in terms of dealing with setbacks, or have there been changes that you've made that have helped you unlock a new level of potential?
Listening to the experts in my life, I can get a little bit of a tunnel vision and kind of feel like I need to grind through injuries or grind through, like, just kind of embrace the suck, as it were. And what I'm trying to realize more and more is like, some suck is good, but if it goes on too long, you're doing damage to yourself. And so I've just come out of another little hole, and the people that brought me out of it were like listening to more experts, finding nutritionists or my coach or PTs or whoever. Like, it's good to bang your head against the wall to a certain amount, but like, at a certain point you also need to change direction and talk to people who know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't know everything, and I need to acknowledge that.
Yeah, life is a game of adjustments, is what I'm hearing you say a little bit, and that is certainly the case in running. Des, this is your 9th time here running in Boston. It started in 2007, I believe, on a not-so-great day as well. Turns out that was good training. What sort of adjustments and lessons have you learned along the way, not just from the victories, but from the setbacks? Because it hasn't always been, you don't win the Boston Marathon every time you go out.
You learn so much more from the bad days if you take the time to process them, evaluate them, and not just be upset about them. So I've had plenty of setbacks. I've had close calls. Finishing second in 2011 was probably, for a lot of people, a big breakthrough moment. They thought, oh wow, that's amazing. It was really heartbreaking for me, and I made adjustments from that, decided to learn this course better than anybody, how to run it, how to race it, and those things have all paid off. I think the biggest thing for me now, it's probably not a secret, is I'm 38, and so I have to deal with aging, and that's kind of sucky. So now it's learning how to recover, when to press, when to rest. But that's what's so fun about the sport, is it's a giant puzzle, and you're constantly tweaking and refining, and then when you think you got it perfect, life throws a curveball and you get to do it all again. So if you can learn to love that process, and I feel like I have, and all those questions and things to solve, you can be a lifer in the sport for sure.
Well, that's so true and so poignant and powerful. And I think, Jared, for you, you seem to be getting faster. I don't know, your PR was set last time you ran here 2 years ago in Boston at 2:09:25. What are you learning as you run more and more miles?
Well, you learn from people that are better than you, and I've learned to, I think to a certain extent when I was young, I thrived on sometimes on ignorance, not knowing who I was racing against, just going out there and pushing and learning how to be tough. But now I learn from the people that are around me. I felt like I was in the shape of my life at the beginning of 2020, and then I ran poorly at that Olympic trials, and you learn from those. And I was talking with Des about 2 months after that marathon, and I said, oh yeah, I'm like still haven't processed it because I'm still disappointed, and she's like, Jared, you just need to get over it. and that was some good advice, and I'm grateful to hop on the phone with Des and with Molly and with Jake and with Meb and others and learn from them, and that's been a real blessing as I've aged. And they're, as I get older, the advice makes more sense, right? Meb would always say, be patient, and I'd be like, well, you can be patient because you're really, really talented, and I just got to go hammer. And now I'm 33, and I think, oh yeah, I guess you need to be patient. You're right.
And obviously you guys have all performed so well on some of the world's biggest stages, and we've heard from previous panels that it's much easier to dig deep and push yourself farther when you have a good why. So I think it'd be great to share with our audience here, what is your why on Monday?
Honestly, I feel like being able to, like, Boston is the city that made me a pro runner. It made me a marathoner, and it really means a lot to me to be back here and finally running the Boston Marathon. So I think that's it, just taking the energy and for what it means to me and for the city for it.
Awesome. We're so happy to have you back, Molly.
It's good to be back.
Jake, what's going to be your why on Monday?
I'm my happiest when things are going well, when I feel like all the training that I've done pays off. It's sort of like a reward for all the hard work I've done. So I'm looking forward to that energy and, like, yeah, feeling like I've sort of achieved what I set out to do.
And Des, what about you?
Yeah, I think that's something I've struggled with in recent years. I don't feel like I have anything to prove. I feel super satisfied with my career, but the last, after October's race and feeling a little off, I'm just going to go out there and prove not dead yet.
And we very much look forward to seeing that on Monday. Jared, what's going to be your why?
What I've been thinking about is a step in the right direction. I have 5 kids at home, and want to always want to show that we can bounce back from hard things and we can move gradually in the right direction. And I'm coaching my son's baseball team. I'm learning a lot about baseball. I never played baseball. Last fall at the New York City Marathon, I kept telling myself, just hit a single. I was facing some health concerns and just trying to get out there and have a solid performance. And I say, just hit a single. And Monday I'm going to be saying, let's hit a double.
So much about hitting a double is getting a good pitch to hit, and also a little bit of luck, and things need to go your way. And not on every race day, things aren't perfect. So, Jared, when you get into a race day and it starts and the sun rises and the buses are loaded up and you kid up and get ready to go, there might be something in there that doesn't go well. On a race day, how do you get over any little mental hardships or mishaps that happen early in the day?
Well, I like a good mantra. So when I say hit a double, that's rewrite the train. So something happens, something doesn't go well. I say, well, we're hitting a double. It could be just hitting a double, or we're swinging for a double, or what, but write the train, and then you got to get back in the present. I think that killers of potential are regret and anxiety, and it's a funny thing that neither of those emotions exist in the present. And so anything you can do to get your mind back to the present, okay, I'm going to tie my shoes, I'm going to take another drink of water, I'm going to do one more stride, I'm going to stand up a little taller, those kind of things that get you back in the moment, then you can attack in the moment. But it's so easy to start a spiral. You hit Newton Hills, you spiral, and you got to stop the spiral and get back to the present.
That's so important. I think when it comes to running your own race, no one in my estimation has embodied that better than you, Des. And we talked about 2011, and there's a famous picture, it's famous to me, of the 15K mark where a pack of women are up front, and off in the distance, 200, 300 meters back, there's one person, and it's just you. And the lead pack is way up, and you're doing your thing, and it's like Natick, it's early, and you went on to finish second that day. Tell us a little bit about the power of running your own race.
Yeah, I think that is what we all need to do. It's running 101, Marathon 101, and it's don't go out too hard. And I felt like in that moment, those folks were going out way too hard for what I was prepared for. And we say that to the masses, to the people behind us all the time. Like if the guy in the banana suit goes out super hard, and you're like, I can't be passed by that person, I gotta go with them. Like, that's a mistake. Wait until mile 20 and pass the banana and have a good laugh about it. You don't have to follow him, like 100%. So it's knowing where you're at, staying within yourself, and don't let the energy of the crowd in the moment get you caught up too soon. It's going to be there when you crest heartbreak. It's going to be there all the way building into the city. Use it then, and you can use it by running smart early and having the legs to go crazy late.
I love that. Jake, you ran 2:10 at the Olympic trials in Atlanta on a really hilly and sort of undulating course. Do you feel like a difficult course like that helps you as you get ready for something like Monday?
100%. And like as part of our build-up, the main thing my coach got us ready for was we go out and run Magnolia Road out in Boulder, which is just a ton of hills. So a technical course like this, where it's all climbs and then descents, like, yeah, you got to get ready for it. And I think it plays to my strengths. And I think it also, you know, if you can come in here and surprise some people, because if you're ready to handle that sort of thing and you have some experience with it, yeah, it's a huge advantage.
Molly, you of course had a very strong, amazing event, life-changing event last year in Tokyo. You also recently won the Mesa Half Marathon, which is, in some cases, a nice. These half marathons that go well are a nice indication of how you feel. Have you built some momentum off of that? Do you feel that you carry some of that coming into Monday?
Yeah. It's especially after what last year was, which was just beyond my wildest dreams. I think it's given me a lot more confidence, and I've always struggled a little bit with some of that, of not necessarily believing myself no matter what. My coach actually, he bought a fake Olympic medal and he hung it in my stairwell and made me look at it every day. So I remembered, because I kept downplaying everything. He's like, no, you got to have confidence in what you've done. So I think I'm trying to remember that, of like, I deserve to be here. I deserve to be running up in that front pack. And yeah, kind of like Jake said, crazy things can happen when you're out on the course. You never know.
You never know. And quick show of hands, how many of you are running Boston for the first time on Monday? So you guys will be joined by Jake and Molly as first-time Boston Marathoners. So let's kind of see what kind of headspace you guys are in. Molly, we know you've been here. This will feel a little bit like a hometown race, and you're super excited. But how are you feeling as a first-time Boston Marathoner?
I mean, it's so exciting, and I'm trying to keep that excitement a little bit in check. But I actually have never seen the first 10 miles of the course. Everyone just keeps telling me how downhill it is. I know the second half really well. So yeah, I think I'm going into it being like, okay, be conservative, be smart, and then just let it rip in the second half.
Jake, how are you feeling? First time in Boston.
Well, I was feeling real good, and I'm starting to get a few more jitters. Like, I've run marathon majors, I've run the Olympics before, but the size of the crowds and the energy out here is like a little bit intimidating. And also, you know, I've been watching this on TV for years, so to actually be a part of it, it's a very different experience being here. And that was the same thing I felt on the course. Like, you see it on TV and you have one perspective, and then you actually get out there and see what those hills are. You see what heartbreak is to actually run up it, and it's intimidating, but I think that gives you some energy and it gives you some adrenaline, and that's how you want to go into a race, is a little bit nervous.
A little bit nervous means you care, so that's a good thing.
Exactly.
So Des, you said earlier you wanted to know this course better than anyone else, and you have proven time and time again that you do know this course very well. So what advice on the course could you offer to all of our first-time marathoners, including these two sitting up here
Plug
with
your
you?
ears, Molly and Jake. I mean, it's, again, don't go out too hard. Those first 6 miles are nice and downhill. You're going to feel amazing because of the adrenaline, the crowd, the gun goes off. Like, this is my day, forget the plan, let me go wild. Don't do that, just wait. Every town you go into, the crowd's going to get huge. It's like really every 5K. You're going to feel like a hero. That doesn't mean pick up the pace and try to impress them. You're just there for a second, so just stay on the plan. Every hill, when you get to the Newton Hills, you're going to climb up it and you're going to be like, oh no, that was it, that was my whole race. There's a downhill. You get to recover right on the other side. So use that as some recovery, regroup, and get yourself ready for the next hill. Best piece of advice, celebrate like crazy on Boylston. You've worked hard all day long. You've worked hard for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, however long your buildup was, and to qualify for this. So that home stretch is yours. Soak it in. The crowd loves you. Act like the hero that you are in that moment, because you earned it.
And Jared, knowing all that you know now after all of these marathons and running Boston previously, what would you go back and tell yourself the first time you ran Boston?
Wow. Yeah, I was really young. No, I wasn't that long ago. I don't know. I think, like, you know, part of me, you talk a lot about being conservative in your approach, being calculated. I teach statistics, okay, so I'm a nerd and I think about the numbers, and I sometimes I'm a little over-calculated. And I think I would tell myself, like, feel it a little bit, enjoy it a little bit. You know, it doesn't always have to be, you know, you can be conservative without being overly calculated. And so, I don't know, I think I'd tell myself to, you know, enjoy it, feel it, react to what's around me. And I think it's funny, I think most people start a little less conservative in their racing strategy, and they get a little dialed in. And I find in my later years, I'm kind of flip-flopping. Like, I'm ready to go crazy. So, I don't know, have a little fun.
You know, so Jared, let's just talk about this. You are the father of 5. You are a busy guy. You enjoy, hobbies include, let me know if I miss anything here, mountain biking. You know how to play the trumpet. You know how to play the piano. Do you play both every now and then? Like, you just pull out the trumpet and wake everyone up?
Yes.
That's good. I mean, if you got to get 5 kids moving one way or another, I imagine.
They love that.
Hey, why would you bet on yourself for Monday? Sorry, I just softened you up with all this cool stuff and then just zinged you.
You know, man, that's a good question, because I should be betting on myself. I'll tell you why. I just did something down here with the podcast with Chris Husler. His kids open up residual checks. He was an actor, and they come up. They do it on Instagram. Okay, it's really fun for us that follow his kids, and he lines them up, and they open up a check, and it's like 50 cents or it's like $2 or whatever, and they have these little bets as they do it. So they did a check on the podcast, and they come up there, and his daughter's about to open it, and she goes, "If it's over $5, you're winning the marathon." And I was like, "How many are over $5? And Chris kind of shakes his head, and he's like, "None of them." She opens it up, $5.56. So I think that's probably the best reason I have to bet on me. But I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna run hard, and I'm always gonna show up.
Des, no one knows this course better than you. No one will ever rule you out of any race. Why are you betting on yourself for Monday?
Experience is everything, and I think I'm on the clock. You know, how many more years am I going to run as a professional? I don't know. How much longer is the body going to hold up? I'm not sure. So I'm running everyone like it could potentially be my last one, which means, you know, I'm going to be hungry as hell out there.
Jake, you've been living and training in Boulder. You're down here at sea level. Why would you bet on yourself for Monday?
Well, this has been a little bit of a rougher build-up for me. Things haven't gone quite as well as I'd hoped, and so I've had to kind of reevaluate my perspective and sort of my expectations for this race, but in a way that's a little bit freeing. You know, I was a little bit disappointed with my Olympics. It took me a while to get over that, and it's kind of taken me a while to reevaluate, but I'm trying to get to a place where, screw it, I'm just going to go out and have fun, and I think a man with nothing to lose is a little bit dangerous.
And before we get to Molly, there are 125 champions of the Boston Marathon, and not one of them won that race without having a setback or a tough race before it. So don't you worry about it. And I'm betting on you for Monday. I'll be looking for you in the front of the pack. Molly, why should we bet on you for Monday? Why are you betting on yourself for Monday?
Why am I betting on myself?
Yes.
I think most of the time I'm pretty goofy, self-effacing, and I don't know, it's something about, like, when you get to the line when that gun goes off, like, I'm a shark, baby. I'm ready.
As someone who had a first-hand seat to Molly's collegiate career and got to see the shark from behind, she is definitely one to watch on Monday.
Let's just stop there for a second. This is Erica Kemp, ladies and gentlemen. She is one of the fastest Americans that we have right here, my co-host all week. She's awesome at this too, but she is a world-class runner and was telling us before we started about competing against Molly in college, in the ACC, and reflect on that a little bit, Erica.
I mean, obviously I wanted to win like everybody else, and losing to Molly all the time, it's tough because no one likes to lose, but it's been so fun. I was telling TK, it's been so fun to see Molly have so much success, because now when I go back and tell people I was second or I was third, at least I can say I lost to an Olympic medalist, and like most people are going to lose to an Olympic medalist. So taking it back to Boston, we have so many people. We have over 30,000 people here for the marathon. We had 10,000 this morning for the 5K. Molly, give us a quick rundown on what they should do in Boston as our local tour guide.
Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. As a former resident of Fenway, you gotta go to a Sox game while you're here. Gotta go get a beer. Maybe get a cannoli in the North End. Go around the Charles River. I'm trying to think of there's just so many fun things to do in the city. That's why I love coming back. It's like I don't have enough time to do everything that I want to do.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, get dunks.
Get Dunkin' Donuts, sit in traffic,
Yeah, sit in traffic, yell at people in traffic.
yell at people in traffic, reserve your parking spot in a snowstorm with a family
Or
heirloom.
no, actually, the most Boston thing you can do, if you've got a rental car, you got to drive down the street and wherever you want to park, it doesn't matter if there's a parking space, throw on your blinker and just leave the car. Leave the car and go. It's fine.
I don't know what's wrong with that. What's wrong with that? Jake, I want to understand, just so I get this right. You got your degree in engineering from Stanford, then you went on to get your master's in mechanical engineering from Boulder. What are you building?
Well, right now I'm building arm sleeves. I work part-time at an engineering firm to make biomechanical sensors. So, yeah, I don't have as much of a hand in that as I made that sound, but yeah, building the next generation of biomechanical devices.
That's very good, including yourself.
I'm my
You're a
main
machine.
test subject, yeah.
Des, as you come back year after year and as you become such a global ambassador for this sport, you are so generous with your time and you're so generous with your learnings and lessons and everything else. What is this weekend? How has this weekend changed for you over the years? I mean, you were the most popular person in town, and you will be for years to come on this weekend. Just tell us about when you get back to the hotel room at night. Are you just like, I mean, you're gonna have gas in the tank for Monday, right?
Knock on wood, you know.
Yeah.
Gonna literally do that. No, it's a privilege, and I think it's being part of a community is so special. And I was recently named Chief Running Advisor for Brooks, so really cool role. I'm sure I'll screw it up, and they'll call me Chief Running Advisor Person at some point. But honestly, it's about connecting the pros to the community and learning from each other, and I think that's just going to be something that brings me back here for a long time, because I think this is a great place where we interact really well together, and this is the every person's Olympics. It really is, and you know, there's so much to learn from each other and so much that we can do to grow the sport with this platform, and it's just fun to be here and just have a tiny piece of it.
Yeah, well, you're a big part of the race's history, and you're a big part of the events and the sport's future. Jared, as you first came to Boston and knew about Boston before you came here, did the history of the race, is that something you ever fully appreciated, or are you sort of learning it as you go here?
You know, I don't say I don't think I could say I fully appreciated it. I appreciated that this is the world's longest marathon. This has been happening for over a century, and I appreciated that. I appreciated the history of the decorated runners, both the men and the women, in the history of U.S. running that have won this race. And I think I followed the Bill Rogers stories and all these runners that came through Boston. But no, it has been so fun to gain a respect for that history. That laurel wreath crown is like Des said, the closest thing you get to a gold medal in the Olympics. It's a storied history, and it's unique.
And you guys have heard some great stories and some incredible advice from all of our Olympians up on this stage. But before we go, we want you guys to be able to go to a coffee shop and order like the pros, some of the best in the business. So Molly, what is your go-to coffee order?
Ooh, large cold brew, no ice.
Why no ice?
Get more coffee that
That's
way.
right. That's right.
And if they want to get the Jake Riley, what are they ordering?
Black coffee, 1 cream, 1 sugar, which is not classy at all, but
Nice and simple. Des, how do they get the Des Linden?
You order a double espresso and a side of a large black coffee. Go big. You will be set all day long. And what is the Jared Ward order?
So, I don't drink coffee, but I'll have Des drink mine. But I love chocolate. Like I eat hundreds of calories of chocolate, dark chocolate every day, and I'm a bittersweet chocolate guy. I drink dark, bitter chocolate, and I love it.
So we had a couple international elites up here earlier today. Perez Jepchirchir, Edna Kiplagat, Lisa DeCisa, and we're asking them a little bit about how they drink their tea. And what is mind-blowing is the amount of sugar that they put into their tea and coffee. It's unbelievable. So what we did is we had actual sugar, and we tried, Erica, hold 1 cup, and we asked, like, Lalisa, how much sugar do you put in your tea? And he's like, 2 tablespoons or something like that. And I was like, whoa, that was a lot. I mean, I saw him do it in 2013. We were both in the tea line together, as you do, and I'm watching Lalisa make tea. And then I asked Edna and Perez. They go, oh yeah, both of them. And I said, that's the secret, I guess. That's what works in Kenya. You can give me my sugar back. Ladies and gentlemen, these 4 athletes are going to be available at the Boston Marathon finish line right after this. So they are really generous with their time, but they do have a really big race ahead of them on Monday. So if you're looking for a selfie or a high five, your best chance of getting that is over at the finish line after this. So without anything else you want to ask these fine, talented athletes, Erica, before we let them go?
We don't want to tire them out. We want to thank you guys so much for giving us some of your time and sharing so much of yourselves with all of us here. And we want to wish you the best of luck on Monday. We'll be cheering for all of you.
Let's give it up for some U.S. Olympians going for it on Monday. Jake, Jared, Molly, Des, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Bring these guys right along here. You're going to take them over, right? All right, thanks, Tess. Good luck on Monday. Good luck, guys. Good luck. Yeah. Wisconsin. Right here. Take a picture of me.